Hi guys, it's Elena with Shumanev Production, and today we are at private estate. It's Solstice Vineyard, and today we are here with Berlanti from Elegant Ninja. She's going to tell us all about this venue and all the things you need to know if you're planning on holding your wedding here. Hey Berlanti.
Hello.
Could you please tell us how many people on average can this place accommodate?
So Solstice Vineyard can accommodate anywhere between, I would say, 50 and 150. The best number here, I would say, is between 50 and 100. You can fit more people here, but it gets a little bit more logistically challenging. But I would say the golden number, let's say, is 80. Between that, 50 and 100. So 80 is really good here too.
What's the average price?
So the price here varies. It goes anywhere from $3,000 to rent the property up to $10,000. There's overnight accommodation as well as an option. So you can spend even a week here before. So a lot of my clients from overseas or out of the state, they like to rent it out for a week. It's very, very all of it's negotiable. So if you do a whole package with the owner, it's much better rate. And that way you can have your whole family stay the week before, and then a couple days after the wedding is totally up to you. Or you can have it with no overnight if you wanted. So the price is very customizable, but it's anywhere between $3,000, $10,000, maybe more if you want to spend a long time here.
Where do you usually hold the ceremony?
So the ceremony location can be in either the space that we're in right now, or it can actually be on the beautiful cobblestone driveway. I like both options. For the flow, I like the idea of doing the ceremony and the driveway because there's a beautiful brown gate that opens up, and then guests get to see, and there's still ocean view on that side. So that's the first thing they see, and then they come to cocktail hour, which is in the middle area of the house, and then this would be a great spot for reception, and that way they see it last. So the flow is exactly the way it's supposed to be. The other option is you do it switched. You do the reception on the driveway, which is a great option if you're planning on doing your reception mostly at night after the sun goes down because of the weather. So it'll stop it's not that cold here at all, but it stops the wind because you're covered by the house, and it's also more lit on that side. So it's all about the time of year and how you want it, but it's totally customizable. The ceremony can be here or can be on the driveway. The reception can be here on the driveway, and then the cocktail hour is always in the middle.
I would like to talk about the parking situation with this venue.
So as you can see when you were driving up here, it's an absolutely beautiful drive. Most of it's actually private road. So you're driving up all the way Latigo. I do require my clients, whoever book here, to do shuttles and have guests all get shuttled up here. Even though you could potentially, if it's a very small wedding, have guests park up here. There's plenty of parking right across the street from here. Literally walking distance from this area, but I would only recommend that for the close family. Everybody else, I recommend using with the shuttle company that they require, and having all the guests shuttled up in the 15-passenger shuttles to make sure that all your guests don't have to worry about driving up the hill at night or, earlier on with the traffic.
What about the bridal suite?
There is a bridal suite here. It's upstairs. It's the master suite. It's beautiful, high ceilings, great lighting, enough to fit 10 bridesmaids if you needed it, and you have access to it all day, you and your entire bridal party.
Where does groom get ready?
The groom gets ready in any of the rooms that he decides. There's a couple more rooms he can choose from. There's no specific room for him, but he can definitely come and get ready here if he wanted.
Are there any specific rules that apply to this venue?
There are a few rules. So if you're not planning on staying overnight here, you would only have access to the bridal suite and one room for the groom to get ready. If you are staying overnight, then you have access to the entire house for your bridal party, but not for guests. So the guests we're not typically meant to set up anything inside for guests. If it does rain, for example, he will allow us to go inside and set up inside, obviously for those reasons. But other than that, the inside is usually off limits aside from the bridal suite and where the groom was getting ready. And the bathrooms inside are only allowed to be used if your guest count is under, I believe it's 80 or 50 people, then you can use the bathrooms on site. Otherwise, we bring in luxury restrooms on the driveway so they can use those. They're beautiful restrooms, but they're not the ones on the house.
What about dancing situation? Where do people dance?
So the dancing is pretty open. I mean, as you can see, there's not a lot of neighbors around here. So you're able to do, if you did your reception here, this fits, I could easily fit, if you had an 80-person wedding, we could do an 80-person wedding with a small dance floor on this area. Otherwise, if it's like over that, then it's hard to fit. You'd do it on the driveway, but on the driveway you can fit 100 guests with the dance floor there. So the dance floor can either be here or on the driveway, depending on where you end up doing your reception. So the noise restriction here is 11 p.m. So music can keep playing till 11 p.m. And if you are spending the night here, you can be inside all night and continue the party inside with the music. But for outside, we try to close everything by 11 p.m. Yes, and then another good perk of this particular property is that you can break down the next day. So unlike other estates that we work at, we have to have the guests all leave at a certain time very fast so that we can get the vendors in that night and clean up that night. But for this property, you can actually clean up the next day. So the guests get to enjoy it up until the last minute, and then we come in the next day and clean up in the daylight. So it's good for your vendors. You save a lot of money on breakdown because they charge you a lot more if you have to do it on the same night.
Are there any preferred places for photo and video, or the most popular?
You know, honestly, the house as a background is really beautiful, has a terracotta paint on it. That's a beautiful spot. Anything cobblestone is beautiful, the vineyard, anything is open. Inside there's a beautiful cast iron railing that you can take photos, video on. Because it's literally open to wherever you want to take photos, all of it's very popular. As you know, you do the ocean behind you, you have mountains, you have the beautiful house also, so it's all open, and the vineyard as well is open for photos.
What's included in the price of the estate?
So with the estate, you're literally renting the property itself and nothing else. So unless you're doing overnights, which is different. So with it, you have the access to all of outside for your guests, and inside you have access to the bridal suite and a groom's room if you were not spending the night. Everything else is brought in by the planner, which is why they require you use myself or somebody whose specialty is estates, because it's a little more challenging to do weddings at estates because you're bringing everything in. So it might seem daunting when I say nothing is included except for the house, but it's not, because estate planners do it all for you anyways. So my job is to come in, I will handle all your furniture rentals, all your tables, your kitchen build outs, your everything. So on the note of the kitchen, the inside kitchen is only allowed for under a certain number of guests. It has to be a smaller wedding. But if you're over, let's say 50 or 80 or whatever it is, we actually build our own little kitchen out in there's a private area near the driveway where they can actually start their live cooking and prep it in the garage. So I've never had problems with my catering, but that's what they're going to be getting ready, and they can also use the kitchen inside for a few things if they need to, but most of it will be brought in with the rental company. So included in the rental cost, which will be probably your biggest budget, aside from the food, the budget for rentals is going to be high because you're bringing everything in, and you're bringing everything from the bar to the glasses to the kitchen build out to the tables, the chairs, the umbrellas, the heater. Everything you need is going to come from that rental company. And if you want more stuff like furniture, we can also provide that as well, and that would come through the rental company as well. So you could do whatever you want, but nothing's included with the venue. It's literally what you pay here is your just being here for the whole day.
Is there a corkage fee?
There is no corkage fee here. All you have to do is have a licensed bartender, either through the caterer or another company, which I could obviously provide for my client, and that's covered completely through that. And you don't have to pay corkage for any alcohol that you bring in, and you can bring it all yourself or have the bartender bring it, however you want to do that.
Do's and don'ts.
So the do's here are obviously have a great time. This is your property. Make it your own because it's you're only paying for the property. You can do whatever you want with the design. So do be creative. Do let your planner do what they want to do. Don't you're not pigeonholed into linens or anything. Actually, on the topic of linens and stuff, the don'ts here. Don't try to stay away from draping because it gets a little bit windier up here during setup. So maybe natural wood tables, do good rentals. Don't have your guests drive up here. I don't even think they allow that, but if you wanted a few people to drive up here, try to do it as minimal as possible because the drive up here is a little bit strenuous and it's not worth guests driving up here and coming back, leaving at night. So for sparklers, they do not allow that in all of Malibu. It's a fire hazard, so we avoid that at any venue out in Malibu mountains.
What's the average price for a wedding?
So it's really hard to gauge the average price here, only because it's so customizable. So everything that you can bring in, you can bring in on your own. So if you're paying for just the day and you get a great rate on the rental of the property, and you do rentals and catering and everything, I mean, you could probably do a wedding for 50 to 100 people at 50,000 or 40,000. But again, it's so customizable. It can go up, you know, to 100,000 if you want to do much more stuff and spend a week here. So it's really, really hard to gauge because there are so many moving parts to this, having a wedding here. So I couldn't really give you an average, but I can let you know, like, this is definitely a very cost-effective venue to do a wedding.
Berlanti, thank you so much. I'm sure our brides will get all the information they need, or they did. And I'll see you next time.
Thank you.